In this video, I'm going to share with you 3 tips from a recent interview that I had with Michael Holcomb, who actually, him and his wife, are the #1 of all time Etsy seller. And to date, they have had 2,399,408 sales in just their Etsy shop. Now, I did do a full interview with Michael where he shares the entire story and everything that they've learned, and I'm gonna go ahead and link that up in the description when that's available. But what I wanted to do in this episode is I wanted to share with you those 3 tips that he shared with me during that interview. So tip number 1 is one that I'm a huge fan of as well, and that is choosing one niche. And what they did was they started with jewelry, but they actually niched down a little bit more, and they went with minimalist style jewelry. And then what they did is they started to create this type of jewelry for special occasions. Now, when they were going after this niche, they could have went after just jewelry in general. But like I said, they wanted to narrow it down, so they were creating jewelry that was tailored towards specific type of people who liked very simple but yet classy type of jewelry. Now, by doing this, and the reason why he said that they are a fan of niching down is because, well, they are building a loyal fan base and they are building a brand. And that's really the big thing that I want to highlight here is, yes, choosing a niche is a huge deal, but when you're choosing a niche, you're usually then building a brand inside of that niche that you can then have a repeat customer, because that is where the money is really made. And the reason why this is important is because, like Michael said in the interview, they want to serve that customer for years to come. And they also want that customer to tell other people about their brand. And that's exactly what helped them get to over 2 million sales on Etsy to date. I mean, you could probably relate to how this would work. If you saw someone that had a really nice piece of jewelry and they were wearing it and it was simple, it was a minimalist style, and you really thought it was nice, you would probably ask about it. And they're probably gonna say where they got it. And in this case, it would be Caitlin Minimalist Jewelry on Etsy. And that's where people would then go to Etsy, search them up, and then buy something from their shop. And then guess what? They've got a brand new customer. So I can't stress this enough. If you're going on Etsy and you're just trying to throw spaghetti at the wall, you're probably better off to choose a niche, and then from there, maybe even niche down a little bit to start, and then start building out a brand that you can serve that one customer, because then they can become a customer for life. The second tip that Michael shared with me, and I thought this one was really, really powerful and not one that I've heard many people talk about, and that is go slow and don't worry about all of the other things that you can do off of the platform. Now, I'm a huge fan of building a brand outside of just Etsy, but when you are starting, it is so important to focus on the one platform. And if my memory serves me correctly, in the interview, I believe he said they were on Etsy only for about 5 to 7 years before they started building their own website, which now they have a full-fledged website and they do a lot of sales, probably more than they do on Etsy right now on that website. But they didn't do it right away. They waited and they really honed in on Etsy. And then from there, they built out a good reputation with Etsy, and then Etsy started to promote them more and more because, well, they were getting good at SEO. They were ranking for a lot of these different keywords and a lot of these different types of products, and they were getting a lot of visibility because they were a top seller. So there's a lot that can be said with going slow and really, really focusing on that one platform. And that's exactly what they've done. And it's exactly what he told me in the interview. Now, one other thing I want to point out that he said was, as far as driving traffic, he uses Etsy ads. And he also said this, and this is a big, big takeaway. And that is, a lot of times the Etsy ads aren't necessarily profitable, but he's okay with that because he knows the value of the customer. This is a big, big takeaway for you. A lot of big e-commerce companies, they don't make money on ads at all. They make money on the follow-up sales and on the repeat sales or on the bigger sales. And that comes from acquiring that customer. So a lot of times, newbies or beginners on Etsy, they don't really understand that the Etsy ad isn't necessarily going to make you a ton of profit, and that's okay. as long as you have a product line that someone can come back to and buy more, or after you launch new products, they can buy those as well. So that's why focusing on a niche and building your brand in there and creating products that could be purchased by that same customer is huge. All right, and the third big tip, and this is something that he said is huge for their success, and that is focusing on customer service. Now, the one thing he did say was it's really important to get someone's question answered as soon as possible. Like, don't wait 24 hours. And he really prides themselves in having really, really fast turnaround time as far as getting someone to answer the question. And in the very beginning, they were working out of their living room. That's how small this business was, but they were answering these questions when everyone would come in. And I know some of you are working a full-time job and you're wondering, how do I do this? Well, check in on one of your breaks or on your lunch hour, and then after you get out of work. In the very beginning, it is important to make sure that you are responding as quick as possible. And he gives a lot of insight on this during that interview. And like I said, I will link that up in the description down below if you want to listen to the full interview. But he definitely said this is something that he sees a lot of people not focusing on, and they should. The other big thing that happens here, and this is happening naturally for them, is when they are having good customer service, they are also able to deal with any problems, any flaws, anything that's happening in the buyer experience, and they're able to correct it. And this is going to allow you and them to get 5-star reviews. And when you get 5-star reviews, something really magical happens. You generally get more sales. Because why? Well, people are converting at a higher rate. Because let's face it, we all buy off of reviews nowadays. With Amazon making reviews a huge deal, and now Google with all of the local businesses that are really going after reviews, because we all are buying off of these reviews. You are, I am, we all are, and it's totally normal. So if we can focus on great customer service, those 5-star reviews are going to come in naturally. And here's the other thing. I'll share a little story with you. My wife has done a really good job at taking a 3-star or even a 4-star review and turning it into a 5-star super review. And what I mean is, if something comes in, she will immediately see why is it a 3-star? Why is it a 4-star? And then she will reach out to them and she will over deliver. And 9 out of 10 times, that will turn into a 5-star review and a super fan, a loyal customer. And because we are building a brand just like Michael and his wife are, we are able to sell them products now, but into the future. And that's why focusing on that customer is really important, because there's so many benefits and are going to take your business to the next level. So let's recap those 3 tips. Number 1, focus on one niche and build a brand. Create products that they can buy now, but also in the future. Number 2, go slow and focus on one platform. In this case, focus on Etsy. Even though it might be tempting to go out there and try the new platform or try to do social media, you probably want to just stay on that one platform, master it, and go slow. And 3, focus on creating an unbelievable customer experience, and that will lead to great reviews and also greater sales. Now, one of the biggest sticking points for a lot of people is choosing the right niche or even finding a niche that they're interested in. And that's why I shot this video right here that walks you through exactly how to do that. Watch that video next, and I'll see you there.